This is the 14th day of October 2022. As we are waiting the arrival of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, as soon as possible, very soon, we're expecting him. I want to encourage everyone to remain focused and resolute in what we are doing. The eye will continue to be on the ball as we are waiting for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to come and address us, the Biafra people. I want you to stay and remain focused. We are not going to back down and step back an inch until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu come out and address Biafrans, and then, and let us have a clear picture of what is going to be the next action concerning the Biafra liberation. But I want to tell you that we will continue to maintain the election in Biafra territory. We will continue to make sure that Nigeria will never be validated again by Biafra people. We will continue to maintain this particular self-determination and the liberation of Biafra by 2023. And like I told you before, by the time we have no senator, no governor, no House of Assembly member, no representative, House of Representative member, no speaker, no House of Assembly member, no councillor, no Nigeria elected official in Biafra territory. That will be the beginning of Biafra. Believe me, and we are going to do this together. So remain focused and resolute. Do not be threatened by anyone, and do not allow any threat to make you deviate. Those who are coming back now, those who say P2B is going to release him, this one is going to release him, you have failed. We move woto to the enemies of Biafra.
Okari message to Buhari: respect appeal court verdict, release Nnamdi Kanu. President Muhammadu Buhari has been urged to follow the path of honor by ordering the release of imprisoned indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, leader Nnamdi Kanu, according to Chief Chekwas Okari, the founding national chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance. Okari argued that securing Nnamdi Kanu's release would unquestionably usher in a new era of peace and security for people and property, particularly in Nigeria's southeast and south-south geopolitical zones. He also pointed out that one immediate effect of Kanu's release would be the automatic end of the economically damaging stay-at-home Mondays every week in the southeast geopolitical zone. Okari was of the view that criminals who have been operating under the cover of IPOB pretending to be freedom fighters will now be isolated for who they truly are. He also noted on Friday that it is fortuitous that the appeal court judgment is coming at the verge of the electioneering period in the country, adding that the security concerns of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, would be reduced to the barest minimum in the southeast and south-south geopolitical zones of Nigeria. His words of appeal to the presidency: I join millions of Nigerian citizens and concerned diaspora communities in the joy of the well-considered judgment of the Court of Appeal that discharged and acquitted the embattled leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, on Thursday, October 13, 2022. I commend the three justices of the Court of Appeal who demonstrated courage, forthrightness, erudition and dispassion in delivering this historic judgment. Similarly, I appreciate the commitment, resilience, discipline, diligence and admirable professionalism of the team of the learned counsel that defended Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is with every sense of responsibility and patriotism that I urge and indeed appeal to the federal government of Nigeria under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari to accept the verdict of the Court of Appeal in the interest of peace and national unity. I further appeal to the President to seize the moment and use his special presidential dispensation to extend pardon to other detainees who are facing similar charges that are currently in various correctional facilities across the country. As we await the due compliance of the federal government with the judgment of the Court of Appeal by promptly releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from the DSS facility, I fervently appeal to the jubilant population of the Nigerian society to celebrate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's freedom responsibly. The release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will definitely usher in a new era of calm and security of life and property, especially in the southeast and south-south geopolitical zones of Nigeria. One immediate benefit of the release of Motsi Nnamdi Kanu is the automatic stoppage of the economically debilitating stay-at-home, every Monday of the week in the Southeast geopolitical zone. Similarly, the criminals, who have been operating under the cover of IPOB pretending to be freedom fighters, will now be isolated for who they truly are. It is fortuitous that the appeal court judgment is coming at the verge of the electioneering period in our country. At least the security concerns of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, would be reduced to the barest minimum in the southeast and south-south geopolitical zones of Nigeria. The federal government and the good people of Nigeria have everything to gain and nothing to lose by the immediate release of Motsi Nnamdi Kanu. The time for President Muhammadu Buhari to show magnanimity and leadership in the vexed issue of Motsi Nnamdi Kanu is now.
The Court of Appeal in Abuja on Thursday declared as illegal and unlawful the abduction of the Biafra Nation agitator, Nnamdi Kanu, from Kenya to Nigeria and quashed the entire terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. The court held that the federal government breached all local and international laws in the forceful rendition of Kanu to Nigeria, thereby making the terrorism charges against him incompetent and unlawful. In a judgment and an appeal by Kanu, by Justice Oludetun Adfopokoji, the criminal charges by the federal government against Kanu were voided and set aside. The appellate court said that the federal government, having flagrantly breached the fundamental rights of Kanu, lost the legal right to put him on trial. The court held that laws are meant to be obeyed and that the federal government has no reason to have taken laws into her own hand in the illegal and unlawful way the matter of Kanu was handled. Justice Adebola held that failure of Nigeria to follow due process by way of extradition process as prescribed by law was fatal to the charges against Kanu. The appeal court further held that the failure of the federal government to disclose where and when the alleged offenses brought against Kanu were committed was also fatal to the terrorism charges and made them liable to dismissal. By engaging in utter unlawful and illegal acts and in breach of its own laws in the instant matter, the federal government did not come to equity in clean hands and must be called to order. With appalling disregard to local and international laws, the federal government has lost the right to put the appellant trial for any offense. Treaties and protocols are meant to be obeyed. No government in the world is permitted to abduct anybody without following due process of extradition. Nigeria is not an exception or excused. Nigeria must obey her own law and that of international, so as to avoid anarchy, the court held.
Release of Nnamdi Kanu will spell doom for Peter Obi, Labour Party's presidential ambitions, ex-APC presidential aspirant, Adamu Gabra, who said this on his Twitter account on Thursday night while reacting to the ruling of the three-man panel of the Court of Appeal on Kanu's extraordinary rendition from Kenya by the Nigerian government, said the court judgment which acquitted and discharged the secessionist group leader is the final coffin for the Labour Party. A former presidential aspirant of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Adamu Gabra, has said that the appeal court judgment releasing Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, will spell doom for the Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Peter Obi. Gabra, who said this on his Twitter account on Thursday night while reacting to the ruling of the three-man panel of the Court of Appeal on Kanu's extraordinary rendition from Kenya by the Nigerian government, said the court judgment which acquitted and discharged the secessionist group leader is the final coffin for the Labour Party. Adamu had insisted that Obi, a former governor of Anambra State, is enjoying support from the Southeast region because IPOB's agitation will come to an end if he wins the 2023 presidential election. He, however, asked what Obi's manifesto will be after Kanu's release as ordered by the court. He said, "With the recent appeal court decision on Nnamdi Kanu, I don't know what Peter Obi's manifesto will be. Or is this the end of the euphoria? Nnamdi Kanu's release may well be the final coffin of the Labour Party." Questioning the appeal court ruling, Gobra said, "By the way, I wonder what empirical evidence convinced the appeal court to discharge and acquit Nnamdi Kanu despite his obvious criminal activities. I respect the court's judgment, but if Kanu can go free, Abokuri, Sunday Igboho, and Henry Oka should all be freed." Following the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami's claim that Kanu was only discharged, not acquitted, Gobra said, "Nnamdi Kanu is still a DSS, Department of State Services, guest of dishonor, as confirmed by FG. Don't worry, true and patriotic Nigerians, any terrorist like Kanu who seeks to destroy your country shall never find it easy. Good news for the obedience, at least they have more time to continue to disguise. Meanwhile, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has raised the alarm over what he described as the activities of an established syndicate with the sole aim of manufacturing fake news, reports claiming he was against the appeal court judgment acquitting Nnamdi Kanu. Yesterday, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja set free the leader of the Indigenous Peoples of Biafra, IPOB, Motsi Nnamdi Kanu. A development that has been hailed by most Igbo leaders and Nigerians. But a section of the media, apparently sponsored by suspected Imo State government opposition, had reported that the Imo State governor, Hope Uzodinma, criticized the ruling of the Court of Appeal, saying the court didn't take into consideration the impact of its judgment, saying the insecurity in Imo was as a result of Nnamdi Kanu. However, in a swift reaction, the Imo government described the report quoting the governor to have said the insecurity in Imo was as a result of Nnamdi Kanu, as the activities of an established syndicate with the sole aim of manufacturing fake news and maliciously crediting same to the governor and government of Imo State, urging the public to disregard the attempt to maliciously discredit the Imo governor from the good works of providing dividends of democracy to citizens of Imo. In a statement made available to Vanguard, the IMO government said those behind the fake news are advised to desist from the practice as the 3-year government is focused on delivering transformational policies and programs to the Imo people. It has come to our knowledge, the activities of an established syndicate with the sole aim of manufacturing fake news and maliciously crediting same to the governor and government of Imo State. The objective of this group is not far-fetched as they struggle to discredit Governor Hope Uzodinma, who is committed to the governance of Imo State and the well-being of the Imo and the Igbo in general. The first publication with the heading, "The Release of Nnamdi Kanu by Appeal Court," is not a good one for Nigerians. FG should do the needful, did not emanate from the governor nor the government of Imo State. The public is hereby advised to disregard such as it is a product of fake news merchants. His Excellency the Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma never made any statement in respect of the court ruling of yesterday. Those behind the fake news are advised to desist from the practice as the 3-year government is focused on delivering transformational policies, programs and projects for the growth of the state and the Southeast at large, the statement read.